So I've been saying that I've been wanting to make this exact video for a very, very long time, and it is finally here, over-analysing the Luke Skywalker versus Kylo Ren fight in The Last Jedi. Now, there's not really any point of me saying like a disclaimer, even if you don't like The Last Jedi, give this video a chance, because, well, you've already clicked on the video, and those of you that don't want to give it a chance have already clicked off or just not clicked on. So I guess with that being said, let's just get straight into over-analysing the fight. So let's set the scene. Kylo is recently self-appointed as the supreme leader of the First Order, and is on the brink of destroying the Resistance on Crait, which is led by his mother, who earlier in the movie he refused to shoot in his TIE silencer, but she ended up getting shot anyway by the people flying alongside Kylo. But the point is, he refused to shoot her himself. And the fact that he is getting ready to destroy her and the rest of the Resistance just shows how much more immersed in the dark side he has become throughout this movie. Obviously, as we know, Luke Skywalker turns up in an attempt to save the Resistance via a very impressive feat being Force projection. He is still actually on Ahch-To, but he appears to be on Crait. From the moment we see Luke, we actually get hints that he's not really there. For starters, his hair, his beard and everything, like what he's wearing and stuff, is completely different to what we've seen earlier in the movie, and I don't think any of us expected him to get a haircut or a shave on the way to Crait. Luke goes up to Leia and hands her Han's golden dice that he had in the Millennium Falcon as kind of a nice gesture, which came after him saying no one's ever really gone, implying that Han will always be with her. And this is also a line for Leia to think of once Luke has died after performing this energy-taxing and draining Force feat. He knows he's going to die from it, and he's just saying something to Leia for her to remember when he does die. No one's ever really gone, Han's not gone, and nor will Luke be once he does die. As obviously we know, and he knows, he's going to become a Force ghost, and maybe even Leia knows, and he's reminding her of this. He kisses Leia on the forehead, and we hear no sound of a kiss. Another tiny hint showing that Luke isn't really there, and this may also be him telling her that he's not really there, as she would not have physically felt him kiss her on the forehead. Luke steps out and faces down the First Order just by himself, like he said he wouldn't do at the start of the movie, truly showing he is a complete contrast to what he was at the start of the movie. That is his arc. Kylo orders every single gun that the First Order has present on Crait to fire at Luke, showing how much Kylo hates Luke, but also showing how much he rates Luke in terms of how powerful he is. He knows that Luke can definitely survive a few blaster shots from some vehicles being shot at him, so he wants everything to be shot at Luke. Hux steps in to stop the First Order from firing, as he knows Kylo's getting his personal feelings involved, but this also shows that Hux doesn't truly understand a Force wielder, as Luke steps out without a scratch. And obviously Luke brushes his shoulder to further infuriate Kylo, and showing that he can't do anything to hurt Luke. Now, Kylo, being so enraged, is blind to see that Luke isn't really there, as anyone would have died in that situation, even someone like Luke maybe, unless he learnt some kind of Force shield, but we haven't seen that in canon before, but maybe he did and Kylo knew that, and yeah. Kylo knows he has to face Luke himself. That's what Luke has came here for, and he goes down to do so. Kylo speaks first and asks if Luke has came to give him forgiveness, or to save his soul, like Luke obviously did for his father Vader, showing that Kylo truly does know that Luke does still hold out a little bit of hope for him, which of course there is hope for Kylo, as we know in The Rise of Skywalker, he turns back to the light. Luke simply replies no, as he knows he won't be the one to save Kylo. He's potentially foreseen him turning back to the light and knows it's because of Rey and not him, and he also knows that he won't be the one to turn Kylo back, because he's the one that Kylo hates the most. I mean, we thought it was Han, but the amount of damage it took on Kylo, emotionally and mentally, to kill Han, well, it wasn't Han that he hated the most, it must be Luke. Kylo ignites his blade in his iconic stomp way, which I think is very, very cool, and Luke ignites his father's lightsaber, which literally broke via Kylo and Rey earlier in the movie, again showing how blind Kylo is due to his rage. and the fact that he's using this lightsaber is potentially another way to wind up Kylo, as Kylo has a very strong attachment to his father, not the light side version being Anakin, the dark side version being Vader. Kylo does that thing where he points his blade at Luke like aiming down a sniper, and I personally really like this. It's like Kylo is visualizing him killing Luke and preparing to do so. And the fact that he can visualize him already winning is again some of that arrogance that every dark side user has, which is the downfall of basically all of them. During this, the Resistance begin their escape plan via Poe Dameron, as he realized that Luke is simply there to distract the First Order and allow the Resistance to escape, a true sacrifice of the galaxy's biggest hero. With the approval of Leia, the Resistance follow Poe, which I think is a really cool arc, as at the start of the movie, Leia literally demoted Poe, and now she's following his orders. Luke removes one hand from his blade, kind of like telling Kylo that he can do this with ease. He doesn't have to hold both hands on his blade and prepare for a hard fight. He knows that he could beat Kylo with ease, and he's telling Kylo that he knows this. Which is again Luke infuriating Kylo to further blind him so that the Resistance can escape. This is part of Luke's plan, and it works to perfection. We cut to a shot of Kylo's foot turning on the floor, and we know the surface of Crait is salty, as a trooper pointed out earlier, and obviously his foot turning on the ground reveals the red salt beneath it. But Luke's does no such thing, again showing us, and should show Kylo, that Luke isn't really there, but Kylo just doesn't notice. Kylo rushes in with sloppy technique, as arrogant as every dark side user, assuming that it could be easy to kill Luke, just like Maul fought versus Obi-Wan when he'd already bested him, and Obi-Wan was dangling, just like Anakin or Vader fought against Obi-Wan, or Mustafar thought he could jump over him easily, and just like Palpatine in Return of the Jedi. He was so arrogant he ended up being blind to the fact that his apprentice was literally about to turn on him, and then you could also argue Palpatine was arrogant again in The Rise of Skywalker, thinking he could beat Rey so easily, and thinking the power of all of the Sith is stronger than the power of all of the Jedi. Luke evades this attack with ease, showing how focused his mind is, unlike his former apprentice before him. Kylo does this exact same thing again, rushing in with poor technique, and Luke dodges it again. The definition of psychopath is doing the same thing twice and expecting a different result, showing Kylo Ren is a psycho. Luke apologizes to Kylo, which I don't think is an attempt to turn Kylo back to the light. I think it's simply something Luke wanted to get off his chest. So when Kylo turns back to the light, which Luke has foreseen, he remembers Luke saying this to him. He does need to apologize because he feels like he has failed Kylo. Kylo replies, "The Resistance is dead, the war is over, and once he kills Luke, he would have killed Last Jedi!" A character saying the title of the film is always fun, but as an audience we know that there's potentially a lot more Jedi out there at the moment. For example, Grogu, Ahsoka, Cal Kestis, Ezra, that all haven't had confirmed deaths, and if we want to go further, Quinlan Vos hasn't had a confirmed death yet, but I don't think he's alive at this point, but some of those others definitely could be. And then obviously Rey as well. Luke potentially knows this as well, as he replies, "Amazing. Every word of what you just said was wrong." This includes Kylo saying the Resistance is dead being wrong, as they are literally escaping right now via Luke's plan. And again, Kylo's arrogance cannot see this. Luke tells him that the rebellion is reborn today, obviously calling it the rebellion, as he knows it is the rebellion, not the Resistance, because he never fought in the Resistance, only the rebellion. He says how the war is just beginning, which we know there to be a year gap between episode 8 and 9, where there is a straight war between the Resistance and the First Order, which I really want to see a Clone Wars style series on. But anyway, Luke also says how he won't be the last Jedi, and I've spoken about that. Kylo assumes he's referring to Rey and Rey only, again potentially some of that blind arrogance of his, and he says how he will destroy her, him, and all of the Resistance, him being Luke of course. Luke knows this not to be true, as he knows the Resistance is escaping right now. He's potentially foreseen their victory, and foreseen Kylo turn back to the light because of Rey and not destroy her. Luke puts away his blade and says how he will always be with Kylo if he strikes him down in anger, similar to how Obi-Wan spoke to Vader on the Death Star. This of course is true, as Luke has learnt to be a Force ghost, so he can be with Kylo forever. He can be with Kylo forever. He hasn't done this just so he can be with Kylo forever, that's what I meant. He also adds, just like your father, again, like I said, someone that Kylo is very attached to, so this would further enrage him. And because of this, Kylo rushes in for a third time, going to strike Luke, but the blade goes right through him, confirming that Luke isn't actually there. Kylo finally realizes this, and as an audience, we learn the truth too. It cuts to Luke on Arc 2, and Kylo is in disbelief that Luke is performing such a force feat, implying how impressive it really is. Luke then fades away and the fight is done. Going back to Arc 2, we see Luke struggling to climb the rock as he is about to die, and he looks into the distance seeing two suns, which is exactly like when we saw him for the first time on Tatooine with those twin suns. Another fantastic circle ending to a character, like I speak of so often, like Maul, for example, in the Obi-Wan versus Maul Overanalysing. Then it cuts to Rey, suggesting that Luke reached out to Rey in his final moments, potentially saying how, yeah, he's about to die, and it's down to her now, no pressure, Rey. So what we've learnt there is that a force projection feat is too much to ask for even the strongest Jedi ever to survive following doing so, and this was hinted at earlier in the movie where Kylo says something like, "This can't be you, it'd finish you," or something like that, when him and Rey interact via their dyad for the first time, as Kylo thought that he was doing some kind of force projection on Rey to show her to Kylo, for example, or something like that. So, as Luke is now dead, the fight is now over, and that means the overanalyzing of the fight is now over. Like I said, every time that I've hinted at doing this video, there's a lot that you can't see when you're just paying attention to the fight and the fight only. So that is why I wanted to do a video on it. Let me know what you thought about this video. Have I missed anything? And have I changed your opinion on the Luke versus Kylo fight if you potentially didn't like it that much at the start? I mean, before I learn all of these things that I've talked about, I thought it was an okay fight, one of the best of the sequels, although there wasn't really any fighting, which I would have liked to see, but I mean that just can't happen because Luke isn't physically there, nor can his lightsaber be physically there, so they can't actually clash. But anyway, yeah, like I said, let me know what you thought about this video. Have I missed anything? Yada yada yada. Thank you so much for, as of recording, 8.7k subs. I'm planning on doing a 10k special, so if you want to see that, get me to 10k subs, please. And yeah, I guess that's all. Thank you for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Goodbye.